Oh my God.
We are live. How the hell are you? I'm Manny Vitale, part of the dynamic duo, part of the one half of the co-host of Music and Mayhem, and the other half, of course, is the one and only Skylar Ray, which we'll be bringing on here shortly. And yeah, I had to throw out there just that little tease. But my phone was blowing up by people asking, who is it? Who is it? Who is it? So the tease only lasted a day. But then the response was when they saw who it was, my phone was blowing up. It's like, you better not be bullshitting. I'm not bullshitting, or am I? But anyways, let's first and foremost, let's get OG in here to give her a little hello and all that good stuff.
How are you? Stay warm if you're in Michigan.
Stay warm. It is like 8 degrees here, and it's going to get colder.
Yes.
So we're freezing our Detroit
toes off.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
I know.
All right. So now that we got OG,
we got
to get the other half on Skylar Ray. Ray. What's up, my brother?
I'm doing good. Man. Just keeping busy and staying active. But I'm excited. It is Music and Mayhem Day. It is Wednesday. So anybody who's watching, I absolutely appreciate you guys very much. I'm super excited for today. So.
No, definitely. And again, I want to thank you for Monday's show on My Fight Our War when I had King Handsome. Whoa himself was the was on, and whoa. I mean, what a great job! It was so great getting to know the man, and not just the music. I mean, what a great guy! Had a great time, and of course, people didn't know that you were going to pop on. So
no, it was a surprise. I was in the green room the entire time.
Yes,
I was behind the curtain pulling the strings, baby.
Well, I tell you what, we do not want to keep this person in the green room any longer than needed. So without further ado, the one and only Colicchie.
Yeah.
Hey.
How you doing, man?
I am doing really well. And how you're just talking about the weather. I mean, I know you're in Detroit and it's probably colder than Pittsburgh, but it's miserable here.
What is it there? What's your temperature there?
I mean, on average, like
too cold.
10 to 20 degrees, but I don't know. I really, truly am just trying to survive. I don't do winters. I should be living in Florida, but this is always the worst time of the year for me. But with all that being said, it's been a decent winter.
Have you been in Pittsburgh your whole life? Is that born and raised?
I have been, yeah.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
So
I mean, I lived out of state for like 3 months out of my entire life.
Oh my God! Yeah, so just like you, I mean, the Orange City, the the cold. I mean, hell, when you're playing ball, man, but just like us, man. I mean, we're 12 degrees too. So, and I almost said Oregon. And how's
Oregon,
weather?
Baby?
How is Oregon?
It's not bad. It's not bad. I mean, right now it's maybe like 30. No, it's probably like 40 or 50, bro. Hold on.
Man,
wow.
We do have our freezing, right? We do have our freezing weather. That's for sure. But it really doesn't get too crazy or too bad unless it's snowing. Like we rain a lot, but when you guys are always freezing and always like really cold out, like we do all right. It isn't that bad. So I feel bad for you guys because look, I love the snow, but one thing I don't like is when the snow visits me. Right, I like to be able to go visit it, so then I can leave and go back to my warm home. And right now we are 47 degrees.
Oh my God!
That's
we toasty, baby.
Man, me and Colicchie should be out there with hoodies and shorts on.
Yeah.
Man, that's warm. But
that is very warm.
Yeah, man. Colicchie, thanks again. Like I said, man, with your schedule and everything you got going on, I know that you guys obviously collaborate together, do music together, have done events together and all that. And I see it from afar, but to be able to meet you and all that, it's definitely an honor for me. And, seeing, from the outside in, we talked a little bit earlier off camera about, with My Fight Our War and why I started it. And that's how Skylar and myself, we just had this instant bond. And next, hearing his story and his trials and tribulations. And, I don't know a lot about yours. So, I mean, it'd be great to hear a little bit about your backstory because everyone knows where you are now with you and your music is just incredible. Great job. But with your issues was I know you're a big advocate in rehab recovery.
Mhm.
What was your drug of choice? What was your issues that you had?
Oh, I mean, honestly, really everything.
Yeah.
I mean, crack, heroin, alcohol,
Uh,
different runs, different drugs brought me to my knees. But I mean, overall, I mean, it was definitely opiates.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
How when we all when we get asked these questions when we go on these shows, man, it's like almost like this. It's coming. It's like you get how old were you? What was your childhood like? Were you loved when you were a kid? And all that stuff. We could jump around all that, but it is important to know, like for you, when drugs and addiction came into, or well, first of all, how old were you when drugs, alcohol, and all that stuff when it came into your life? How old were you?
I mean, I probably started smoking weed when I was like 13, and then
Mm.
alcohol pretty much maybe that same year, or if not the next year. And I mean, really, I didn't like either of them at first, but that didn't prevent me from continuing.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
and I say this all the time, but it's so true. Like when I was just young, I was a very just shy person, and I was just I always felt like a part of me was missing, and I couldn't identify, and I couldn't really tell you what or explain it. But drugs and alcohol filled that emptiness inside of me, and they filled that void. And whenever I actually even got a glimpse of that, I just took it and ran with it. My progression with drugs and alcohol was tremendously quick. From starting to smoke weed to doing opiates in high school. I was always chasing like the next high, and just trying to feel anything but myself. And and it's not that I even really like hated myself like in the beginning, but I just I was willing to go to any length just to feel different than how I was feeling on a consistent basis.
Man, isn't that crazy? That's just like for all of us who have gone through this and continue to go through it as well. That we all know what you're talking about. We'll never know exactly what you're feeling, but we know what you're talking about. How you got that feeling, but you take that first drink, that first shot, that first injection, that first pill, and all of a sudden you start to glow. All of a sudden, I'll hear people say the real me came out. Well, no, but
Mm-mm.
that shyness went away, so that became. But you said it, man, when you said until the next high. It was like, well, this was good. So if this is good, this is gonna be better. And it's as we always hear, the gateway drug. So yeah, it almost sounds like normal, man. Not normal for us, but when we start experimenting, the gateway from the weed to the alcohol, and then it progresses as well. But you said it progressed pretty quick, though. You did say progress to heroin.
I did, yes. Like I said, I fell in love with opiates, like in like the 11th grade, and my life was like still somewhat manageable,
Mhm.
and then halfway through my senior year, I mean, it just, I knew I hit this level that, that there was no returning from, and I was never that type of addict that was like denied that I had a problem. Ever since I was real young, and I first started abusing drugs and alcohol, my mother basically was like, I'm an alcoholic. Your father was an addict. Like, more than likely you're going to suffer from addiction and alcoholism.
Wow.
And to be honest, like, I don't want to say I didn't care, but I didn't care. I didn't
Mhm.
care about school. My only objective in life, even my senior year of high school, was to just party and to just do drugs and just, and, I barely graduated. I wasn't allowed to go to commencements. I wasn't, I was suspended. I mean, like over 50 days, my senior year. And
Wow.
I had no ambitions. I had no goals. I had no drive, no nothing. Like I didn't want to continue school. I didn't want to I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. And and I remember that summer, is when I became like this full blown drug addict that would, commit petty crimes. And I mean, I ran from 8 in the morning to 2 at night every single day of my life, and I attempted community college and I went about 3 days and then just gave up. And I mean, honestly, for the next 6 years, my life was just this revolving door of just psych wards and small jail stints and rehabs and all these things. And I mean, that was my life. And as pathetic and as bad as it was, I lived this torturous existence where, every single moment of my life was gruesome, which is it was just horrible.
Yeah, and the thing is too, man, and again, I'm not speaking for anyone but myself in this, but I can relate to what you're saying, is I was the same way, where, I mean, growing up, I had, loving family around me and all this stuff, and I was into sports, and I was, probably around 14, 50, same thing. But when I started to get out of control, something that you said really kind of hit with, stuck with me, is I didn't give a shit about anything. I didn't care about what you said. I didn't care about what I said. I didn't care what happened to me. So I damn sure didn't care what happened to you, who I was hurting, what I was doing. It's just that feeling. And so I see what you're talking about. It's like, so you reach for that next thing to make you stop feeling that way again temporarily. But yeah, so that's something, man. So you did. I just heard you say, so besides the drugs and progression with that, it did end up in jail, some jail time, huh?
Yeah, I mean, just there's the crime and addiction, go hand in hand. So,
You can't have one without the other.
no,
Definitely,
you
you
can't.
got to be able to pay for that
Yes.
addiction somehow, right?
Definitely. And with Skylar, and all these guys, King Handsome, hearing music, and like for Skylar, when we talked, I mean, it was 9, 10 years old, man. He knew it was in his heart and he did it. King Handsome, he was just on the show. It was something inside. What with you with music? When did you know that there was something with you in music?
Honestly, I mean, I was probably pretty late in life. Like, when I was younger, I mean, I went through. I loved music. Like even before drugs. Just, I mean, every genre from classic rock to, alternative and and even rap. Throughout high school. But whenever I was like, I was either late 22 or early 23. It was the first time I ever attempted to get clean, and I basically was in this outpatient, and I was doing that and going through the motions, and this is really as simple as it was. I came home one day and I sat on my mother's couch and I was listening to Music Choice on demand, and it was just a few rap songs in a row, and I instantly grabbed a notebook and I just started writing. And because when I was in 7th grade, I wrote like this book of poems, and it was just, it was nonsense. And it was just, rhyming words, but I loved it. And there was just something about like that day in particular, like hearing a few songs, and I started writing rhymes. And I would say like the first week or two, like I was just writing anything, and I was writing like gangster stuff, like stuff that like I was like writing like stuff that I just had no experience on. And fast forward even like a couple months of like writing, I started to attend a 12-step fellowship, and in there they were trying to ingrain like honesty into me, and on everything, like with the spiritual principles that I learned in that program. I absolutely incorporated into my music. So that's all I wanted to do, is I just wanted to tell my story and be as honest as possible, and regardless of how it made me look. And I knew, and by doing that I was going to get a sense of freedom, and I did it. And the first time I felt even just a little bit of relief as far as like writing my feelings down and the things that I did, and it kind of was like that moral inventory. So I was just basically just writing everything that I ever been through on paper in rhyme form, and there was just something about it that was magical because it made me feel better. And I guess you could say for the last 18 years, that's kind of what I've been doing.
Man, I tell you, what, from what you just said, and Skylar, you know where I'm going in a minute.
I can 100% relate, man. That's exactly what I went through.
Yeah. So I mean, saying that, hearing your story about your life, your stories, and then turning that into music because it's your life and your story, that's what started getting real. That sounds just like my brother Skylar Ray. And
It's just
you
like
can
mine,
take
man. I
this
used to.
when he came
I was a
on.
kid just rapping about Lamborghinis, threesomes, packing a pistol, all this stuff. But it's like I'm taking the bus places, like looking for bus money. And it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not doing
rolling
anything.
cigarettes.
Yeah, rolling cigarettes. And it's like, but I rapped about all this stuff I heard on the radio because I was like, that's what a rapper does. Like I didn't have any concept of like a positive rapper or like somebody who everything was like the same, like cookie cutter on the radio. And I hate to use the word cookie cutter, but I mean, it was all glorifying the same stuff. So to me, I didn't know you could rap about something different. And honestly, I probably didn't have enough life experiences at the time. Well, what am I going to talk about? Like, foster homes or, getting kicked out of school for fights. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I wanted to sound bigger and badder than I was, right? Ain't no one going to buy that, right? I'm sleeping on the couch. I ain't got no job. I'm 17, got to go to school, like, come on now. So,
Yeah, but the thing is,
um,
though, man, isn't that something, though, when you did start rapping about what you did
Yes.
know is when your music just took off.
That's because it was relatable, and people that
Yeah.
have actually been through the topics that I touch or Colicchie touches, they could tell when it's genuine, right? They are able to see what is real, what is authentic, and they are able to relate to it. So instead of writing trends or rapping about what you hear on the radio and then, trying to get people to listen to that, right? It's like not many people could relate to that stuff.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And so when we talk about what we've been through in drug addiction, and drug addiction touches everybody. It's somebody's mom, there's somebody's son, somebody's child, things like that. So with that being said, it's a very relatable subject. And I found my true target audience. Once I started
Exactly.
rapping about my life, people came out the woodworks to show support because it was relatable and they felt like I was talking about their issues. And
Yeah.
so it's very relatable, man.
And that's like, so Colicchie, is that like what he was just saying about, like when I was talking to King Handsome, man, I mean, you're a product of your environment, and he's never really had issue with himself with drugs and addiction. It was just the environment with the violence and everything that he grew up with. And, but now, it's okay. It's cool to be sober. It's cool to be talking about God, and it's cool. Whereas before, you were cool if you talk about shooting some bitch in the head, and it was cool if you did this many drugs and all that. Is that like with your music? Is that where you find like the inspiration? And I'm sure that the feedback you get from people hearing your music just inspires them as well, just to keep pushing on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I get inspiration from everywhere, and yeah, for myself, like I look back to when I first, started making music in 2005 and 2006. And that's really all I've ever known, was just to really just share my life story, and like I said prior, like, I've shared a lot about a lot of very embarrassing things, and especially like, and I've shared about, failures and, and wanting to die, and all that. And, I feel like now it's become like so much more, I don't want to say like socially acceptable, but like at the time, that I was, first starting music, not a lot of artists were saying some of the things that I was saying. And there was really never any fear involved. I just, once again, was chasing that freedom of how I felt, and it was just, I share this all the time, but it was like I was giving everybody in my community and in the rooms around me like all this ammunition about everything that I ever did. So therefore, like I had no secrets. And I felt like if I had no secrets about anything, that there was nothing that anybody could possibly do to hurt me.
Correct.
So I kind of looked at it as like this tool, to gain self-acceptance simply by just being as transparent as possible.
That's
Yeah.
that's like I always say too for myself, is like, for me, you got to own it, and for whatever that is, it's controlling you once you get it, but then you got to own it, because until you do, it owns you. Whether that it is drugs, alcohol, heroin, eating disorder, depression, whatever that it is, until you own it, it will always own you. And like for your guys' music, like I said, once you started rapping about your own,
Authentic.
things that happen in your life, your own experiences, that's when everyone else just like were attracted to you because that was you. King Handsome, the violence and all that crazy stuff, it's so authentic with him because that's real with him and different things. And people in addiction, we're not stupid, man. You can't bullshit an addict. We will catch you and call you out. So when they hear your music, man, they know you're coming from the heart, both of you guys.
Absolutely. And it's really cool because also on top of that, it's healing. I'm such a hermit, man. I don't pop out at all, right? I maybe pop out once or twice a year that isn't like music related. Obviously, I go get groceries. I stop at the post office to deliver merch. Other than
Yes,
that, like,
and in April,
yeah,
you're going to be popping out somewhere.
Yeah.
Just saying.
April we are gonna do some stuff.
Yeah.
Check it out. But it's like other than that, if it ain't a date night with Kayla, I'm such a private person, and it's crazy because like we went to go hang out with a friend and I was like, oh, we haven't hung out with like a friend in like years, right? And it was his birthday and I was there and people were like, so my recovery is a little bit different. I don't do meetings. I don't do I've done step work, but I don't do step work now. I don't do read the big book. I don't do any of that stuff, right? And it's crazy because I was like at a birthday party, and my buddy, my tattoo artist, right? He's in recovery, but all of his recovery people are there, and they're like always in conventions, always in meetings, always everything. And a lot of people knew me, right? And they didn't know me personally, but they know of me. And when I showed up, everybody's like, "Oh, like what meetings you go to? What do you do with this?" And I was like, I don't do any, and they're like, you gotta
Kayla.
have some type of community. You gotta be doing this and doing that. And
It's
I
right
was
here.
like,
Yep.
I
there's a
hear you, but
community.
I was like, honestly, my music is like my recovery to the fullest.
Yeah.
It is my
Yeah.
therapy. It is everything. Like when I write music, I break down, I cry. I
Mhm.
cry when I listen to music. Like music is my healing therapy. And
Mhm.
so it's kind of wild that like when people hear me say that, and it's just like, well, that's kind of what works for me. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah,
do my
just at a
community
different
service.
level. Yeah.
Yeah, when I do shows and things like that and show love to everybody and pop out and we do all types of community service with the community. We do our own fundraisers. We give back to the homeless. We give back to kids. These are all things that we do. But on top of that, like I go and speak at so many centers. Like
Mhm.
I have visited hundreds of centers. Like I definitely do a lot of community work, but like as far as like meetings and stuff, it's just like music is my therapy and that's the way I handle everything,
See, and that's the thing too when I speak, it's broken record, man, because I will never tell Colicchie or Skylar Ray or Phyllis or Tanya or Ty or anyone else, you have to do this or else you're going to fail and you're going to relapse. I'll never do that. Like Skylar, my story is a little different. Colicchie, I kind of told you my backstory, a little bit of it. But when this happened to me 5 years ago, I got out of the hospital and COVID shut the world down. There were no places open because of COVID. And I was supposed to have inpatient 24/7 intense therapy for like years. And I had nothing because of COVID. I never had one meeting. I never had a sponsor, a counselor because of COVID shut everything down. By the grace of God, I have never had one craving, any withdrawal. I go to the casinos, I go to parties and clubhouses and all that. By the grace of God, I've never had any cravings to go back. Um, and I tell people all the time, and this is going towards you, Colicchie, is everyone, they're like, what should I do to stay sober? And it's whatever works for you. You're going to be getting pounded all over. You got to go to AA. You got to go to Al-Anon. You got to go to Fan Care. You got to do this, social media, in person. You got to do what works for you. And what worked for you, Colicchie? What are your rehab? Are you doing anything, programs, or what is it that you're involved with?
So I mean, yeah, and I mean, I agree. I mean, I've always just shared my experience. I mean, even if you read any of my posts, it's always in I form. I'm never really in a position to tell anybody like what to do. Once again, have always shared what I do and what has worked for me and what I've seen work in the lives of those around me. And you have to understand too, like here in Pittsburgh, 12-step fellowships have always been very big. We're talking 400 to 500 meetings a week. So whenever my sister introduced me to a 12-step, program at the age of 23, that just became my world. And the more I went, the more I heard my story. And then the more I heard my story, the more I could relate and I could identify. And the more that I learned that, like, that I have this illness, and that at the end of the day, like, yes, drugs and alcohol was my problem, but it goes much deeper than the drugs I used. It has a lot to do with just my ideas and my attitudes and my thinking, and everything that comes around, that, like whether it's my behaviors. So that has just always been my main source of strength. But I mean, I can relate 100% to what Skylar was saying about music as well, because I mean, there were so many nights where I didn't utilize any of that, and I, would sit in a parking lot, till 2 a.m. and just listen to an instrumental and write, because I wanted to hurt myself or because I wanted to use. And the phone was too heavy. I didn't feel worthy of praying, and I didn't feel like I even deserved. But music has always been there for me. And listen, man. So I mean, a lot of my stuff that I've recorded and that has been truly relatable is when I was like really going through it. And and I'm grateful to have that outlet. That's why I always suggest writing for anybody that's in recovery, whether it's journaling or whether it's step work or poetry or whatever, because that is something that has really catapulted me in my own recovery to new levels.
It's self-expression. It really is. It's self-expression. Like me, I will get deeper with my music than I will with people. I will get deeper with my music and more honest about myself and what my problems are than I will with strangers or friends or anything like that, right? I can get in the studio and I'm writing and I'm playing it back or I'm rapping it, or sometimes I'll hear a song I did like a year ago and I was like, yo, I can't believe, like, that's what I was going through. Like, that's insane. Like, especially like when I'm writing nowadays, sometimes I'll do it and I'm like, oh, maybe that's what's bugging me, right? My brain catches on the beat and tells what my problems are before I internalize it sometimes, because I'm just going and I'm trying to be as honest as possible. And then it's like, that makes sense. Okay, well, these are my flaws. I'm willing to point out my flaws. I'm able to also hear my problems back at me and accept it in real time in private. So I'm able to, break it down, see what it's about, and maybe come up with a solution, right? So, like I said, it is definitely, music has always been my therapy. That's what it is. Like, I'm such a big crybaby. I cry all the time during songs, when I'm writing, everything like that. That's just, and it's like, I really don't cry in public much. Although there has been 4 or 5 shows I have broke down crying in tears. And I told you about this one time, Manny. Like, so I've been at a show and I'm doing at this treatment center, and somebody asked me a question and it hit me. And I remember I was just sitting there sobbing for like 5 minutes. Whole show stopped. I'm like in Kayla's shoulders. I got like snot coming out my nose. I'm crying. I'm trying to find tissues, and the whole
man.
just looking at me, But when it's real and it's honest, like, there's real feelings behind it, and sometimes that cut is deep enough to provoke those tears.
Exactly.
So
with you,
it happens. Go ahead.
and with you guys, it's like you, Dale, Skylar, with you do better instead of with people diving into the music, your own head, and writing and putting lyrics down, and just like Colicchie as well. Obviously, I don't sing, I don't rap. You don't ever want to hear that. Trust me. But for me, and I never thought I'd be doing this in my life, because I didn't like talking to myself. Now I'm doing lives everywhere. And, but I feel my best when I'm throwing my shit out there live in front of everyone, to everybody. That's my happy place. And, just
that's your form of expression of art.
It really is. And it's just the different areas where we put ourselves that is just, it's just really amazing, and it goes to show that, there, and like Colicchie said, I do the same thing that you do, man. With our format, with My Fighter War, I will never, ever say, like I said, you have to do that. I always said, like with us, it's never I and me, it's us and we. We're going to give you, this is what worked for me, and Skylar, this is what worked for him. So we're going to give you a shit ton of ideas and see what works for you. Maybe none of them, and maybe something else will work that we never thought of. Yeah. But that's just the big thing that I look at is, looking at things. I mean, because none of us woke up on Tuesday and said, to-do list, I'm gonna go get something to eat, exercise, I'm gonna go see Skylar and Colicchie. And yeah, after that, I'm gonna become a drug addict and an alcoholic. That's item 4.
It's on the list. Gotta complete my job.
It's just we made a series of decisions that were the wrong, bad decisions, and it happened. But before that, you were Colicchie, you're Skylar Ray, I'm Manny. After that happens, we're still the same people that made bad decisions, but now we're on a rebound, man. And for you guys, what you're doing, not only for yourself and the recovery, but for the recovery world, man, for the people that you guys are touching, and the lives that you are saving by your music, by inspiring, is like I said. I know I sound like the gooky little fan, but I am, because it means that much, and it feels good to be that little sappy guy right now, because in the past I could have gave a shit about any of it. So again, I keep saying thank you guys, but really, thank you.
I
Man.
do my
Your
thing,
music-
but I'll tell you what, Colicchie, man, you are on a whole different level, bro. Major respects, major kudos. I'm very confident in my work and what I do and my accomplishments. I know I put in hard work, and I know I demand results, and I get my results. But you, bro, like, everybody knows Colicchie, right? And it's funny because everybody tries to holler at me because I know the wizard, right? I know the wizard. That man is Colicchie. Everybody's like, can you get him in a show? I'm like, how much money you got? No, but it's like, on a real note though, it's like, man, a lot of people like, you're what is to strive for. Like, the amount of people that you have reached, you could say success, because it's the same thing, the amount of people you have reached, but it isn't always the success that gets me excited about you. It's the amount of people that you have reached, right, with your music, because that's what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? Success is nice, and obviously success pays the bill, so it needs to happen. But with that being said, like, man, like, the level of people that you reach, the amount of people that bond with your music, and that always bring you up, bro. It is really cool to be able to watch you work and to be able to call you a friend. It's got to be surreal, because, like, my inbox be blowing up about people like my music's changed their lives and things like that, and I could only imagine what your inbox be like, right? So it's a privilege to watch you do your thing and to be able to know you, and I think it's really cool that you give back to the community and that you do so much for it. I'm always seeing you in action, man. I seen you at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for the second year, right?
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
Okay. What was that like, getting that invite back?
Oh man, it was definitely an honor. I actually think I'm going there next year too, in November.
Hey.
But yeah, man, just super cool, and thank you for all the kind words. And seriously, I mean, but once again, I was really just sharing my story, and I started making music. I mean, truly just for myself. And man, fast forward all these years later, I never would have thought that, like, my music would even have touched a fraction of the people that it has. So, like, I don't know. That's just something that, like, constantly gives me gratitude, and something that constantly, fuels my desire to want to keep going. Because a lot of days, you know how it is. I just, it's hard to find strength it's hard to find strength, and even keep up with the discipline of what it takes to be your own boss, and and to put work in when you're supposed to. And but it is, man, at the end of the day, it really is all about, like, just the gratitude, because that is just a pure reason that that we're able to keep going.
Yep.
It's funny too. Is I look back with like Skylar, when we were talking about his trip when he was all over the world, and I was looking at again, we were talking off camera about you, your ma, and Kayla, and the smiles on your face. You're in Spain, you're in Italy, you're here, you're all over the world.
Africa,
and look at all this, and it's just the pictures and the smiles were so real. You were all glowing. I told Colicchie, obviously he's so happy when you're singing, you're doing your thing on stage, but all of your posts, Colicchie's posts with his family, is that same real smile, and it's just so real, and that's what makes it all worthwhile. And the thing is too, you were talking about Colicchie and all that stuff. Well, I gotta thank both of you guys, because ever since me and Skylar and started doing our own show, and people find out that me and him are tight, all of a sudden I become popular because now people are like, so he actually calls you? Yeah, he calls me all the time. What does he say? He says, stop bothering me. But and so now,
how'd you get my number? Hold on.
yeah. And then one episode, Skylar's like, yeah, man, I hit Manny up all the time. I call him, text him, and people were like, you never call us. So I was like, But then when we put the promo out about our special guest, and I had the question mark, people were guessing, and I was just not answering them. When I flashed your picture, my phone, it was just like, get out of here. How do you know him? So I may have stretched the truth a little. I'm like, oh, my brother, Colicchie. Oh, we go way back to, we've never met me yet either. But
are we still live?
but no, seriously, man, just a little bit, just getting to chit chat with you, knowing from what I know about Colicchie through you, Skylar, man. Your music and everything you do is just it's just an offset of who you are, man. And one is the other, and the other is the one. So, man, it is an honor to be chit chat with you. And thanks for boosting my popularity a little bit.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what's really cool though? One thing I really do is love the post with your family.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the most beautiful aspects about you is that you have your family. It is so wholesome, bro. You know what I'm saying? You got this guy, he got his lady, he got his kids, he's kicking recovery's ass, or not recovery's ass, but addiction's ass. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And you're doing your thing and you're doing normal dad shit. And I'm like, bro, that's so envious. Like, you know what I'm saying? To be a father who's present and to be part of a beautiful home. Because a lot of us came from like broken homes, right? And so to be able to see that, bro, I absolutely love it. I was laughing so hard at your skit with the toothpaste.
Because it's all of us.
You were onto something with that one.
And I mean, once again, that just goes to strictly gratitude. I mean, there's so much stuff that in my life has happened in the last 10 years since I got and clean that I never believed would happen. I mean, all of it. I mean, anything that you see, whether it's family or being a homeowner, or I mean, just any of it is just strictly because, I just, was able to, put down the drugs, and change the way I live and like, be of service. And it's incredible. I mean, it really is incredible. And man, pure happiness, and I couldn't ask for anything more.
It's crazy when I asked Skylar, not asking, we were just sitting there just bullshitting during one of our shows. And it's one of the things we always get asked when we're on shows. It's like, did you ever think you'd be doing this right now 10 years ago? And all of us, of course, no, because I was either drunk, high, in jail, or whatever. So no. So back then I had no idea, that I'd be doing podcasts in front of, and having Colicchie and Skylar Ray as guests on my show. No, I'm not going to bullshit and say, oh yeah, that was in the cards. But just seeing, man, and that, this own silly cliche, if I can do it, you can do it. Man, we're all proof about doing that. And everyone here that's commenting, and for all those people commenting, we see you and we're responding. And if anybody has a comment, or I'm sorry, if anyone has a comment or a question for Skylar Ray or for Colicchie, please put it down if you have a specific question, and we will pull it off the side and let the guys hear it. So sorry, I had to jump in there.
Absolutely.
Oh,
we're
and
always down to answer any questions, man. And
they're just sending love. They're sending
no,
love.
I got it. I forgot.
Love.
I forgot about the music and mayhem part of this too, because I've got my my good brother, Screaming Scott Randall, who is Mr. Radio here in Detroit, who's been just doing a lot of stuff, helping out big times. So I just had to give a quick shout out to Screaming Scott Randall over at WCSX 94.7, who's on from 3 to 7. So give him a shout out because he's been a big part, him and Loco Joe, as far as My Fight Our War too, and with music and mayhem. Whew. Okay, there, I got it in. I got it in.
Hey,
sorry, guys.
You got a new album coming out, or new music,
It's
or what was
going.
it?
I mean, a bunch of songs. I was just telling Manny earlier that I just finished one today. It will probably be my next single. So hopefully in a couple weeks I have it out.
All right.
I have a couple songs that I have done that I am procrastinating on shooting the video because there's still certain things that I need to do. But yeah, just staying busy. You know?
Okay. What does your goals look like, man? Someone who you're a go-getter. And the crazy thing about it is at least from my standpoint, I doubt myself all the time. I struggle with confidence issues. I'm always thinking that, I can't get the job done, things like that. But then there's so many times that, like, when I sit back and look at how far I've come and I stop doubting myself, I realize how great I am. You know what I'm saying?
There you
And,
go.
and I mean that in such a sincere way, meaning like
Mhm.
I can get these tasks done. I can overcome this. I will be the one that does this. And so I have so many goals, like on the back of my board. Those are just some goals, right? Those are just some goals. My vision board. I got
Your
vision
vision
boards all
board.
around the house. I got to stay focused. What does
I
Colicchie's
got I
vision
got
board look
sticky
like
notes.
for 2025?
I mean, I definitely want to make more music than I did last year. Um, I want to do as much traveling and shows as I possibly can. I'm getting married this year.
All right,
I want to
congratulations.
continue to, be there, for my children, and lead by example. And I don't know, man. I want to just continuously just be a better person, and especially like internally, and and just I don't know. I want to help more people this next upcoming year as well, and I want to be more consistent with the gym. And even though I was pretty consistent last year, I feel like I need to go harder. And I love what you said because it's so true even for myself. Sometimes I just really need to give myself a break because I feel like I'm not doing anything. But then when I really do sit down and I break down, just even 2024, it's just like, okay, I have to be realistic about this and be logical about it. I did accomplish a lot, so I have to
Yeah.
stop being so hard on myself. And I would say my biggest goal out of, anything that I possibly could do in this next coming year is that I need to start living in the here and now more than ever before. I need to stop being so
Mm,
fixated and worried about the future. I think about all the times in my life that I was worried for absolutely no reason, and my life did not turn out the way that my fear envisioned it, and it's
yeah.
just so crazy because so many things have happened in my life that were so unexpected. They were such a blessing to the point where, we're just talking like how, oh, I didn't think I'd be doing this 10 years ago or whatever. Like, so much can happen in a year. I mean,
Oh God.
so
So much.
much. And
So much.
man, I just have all this tangible evidence in my life of just year after year of these milestones that I just didn't think was possible for someone like me. And then I would attain it. And it was like, okay, now I see like, why was I so worried in the first place?
Yeah, and I tell you, it's just with
Yeah.
we're our own worst enemies at times, man.
By
It's just like
far.
because with me, I'm the same way, man. It's just like if I'm not doing something, I'm not to the point where I trust me, I'm enjoying being sober and all that. But if I'm not doing something, it's like, man, I'm stagnant or I plateaued. It's like, oh shit, I got to do something more in the studio. I got to do something more with the lightings, the mics. I got to do more lives. I got to do videos and shorts. It's like, well, wait a minute. Okay. Cause I'm worried about tomorrow and tomorrow's show, next week's show, flying out to New York to do more shows. You nailed it, man. You got to enjoy the here and the now because if not, what's the point? All this worrying about what happened a year ago or what might happen next week is nothing compared to at this moment. Hanging out with Colicchie and Skylar Ray. That's all that matters right here and now. And I'm
Absolutely.
enjoying the hell out of it. I'm telling you guys, I
Hey,
really am.
let's go.
So,
You
so
know, I agree. And the crazy thing about it is living here and now and being able to trust yourself, right? I'm beginning to gain confidence. I'm beginning to trust myself and understand that like all these things, like you said, that I work myself up about never happened. Right? You know how many days I spent stressing on something or, literally crying, tears coming down because I'm worried like finances or the future, I'm future tripping. And then I realized like you said, none of that happened. So why was I stressing? And it's like, we do have the ability to be able to handle these things, man. I'm really looking forward to this year. I have a lot of goals, plan on getting in shape. I'm already down like I
Yeah.
think 8 pounds since I got back from the country.
Mhm.
You know, my goal is to get down to 150 by tour. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna take 50 pounds off. You know, this is like the heaviest I've ever been. I've been this heavy one time, but it's like I want to get those off. I want to be more healthier. I want to feel better. You know, I'm 33 years old. I got 34 years old. Yikes. And I got back pain. I got knee pain. And I'm like, you know, that's
Man.
so young to be feeling these pains.
That's true.
You know, so
That's
it's
Yeah,
like
no,
I have
you're
a lot
right.
of goals like that, man. And like music, I plan on releasing every 2 weeks. I'm really excited for that. I got like 5 or 6 videos in the vault ready to release. I also have quite a bit of songs. I've been grinding away. I'm super excited about it. This year, the Road to Recovery tour will hit 100 stops on tour. Last year, we ended with 86 shows around the
Mhm.
country. It's a beautiful thing, man. It really is, you know. But those are things that like I have to grind for. Like I'm literally calling and meeting and you know I just had a meeting today. Got 2 shows booked. Drove down to a center down here in Portland. Another Chance Rehab, right? Great company. Um, they're insane, bro. They have like a whole block to themselves. They're like 33,000 square feet, and they're
wow.
in
Wow.
on the whole block. Like so many, it's insane. But I have so many goals this year, and the big thing, like you said, that really resonated with me is living here and now
Mhm.
because like I am doing cool stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the way I look at it, like when you look at trying to make it as a music artist, right? I have a lot of levels to climb. I have a lot of levels. I'm at the very bottom, but I did make it on a level of being successful and paying the bills as a music artist, right? And
Mhm.
so like that's more than like all my friends, basically. That's more than like most people you'll run into like in any city. You know how many like rappers and music artists there are in each city and each state? And to think
Okay.
that we literally like make money from it on a
Mhm.
consistent basis or just enough to like get by or put food on the table, like that is a huge accomplishment. It really is. So like living here and now and celebrating my victories as they're happening. I'm always future tripping. I always have these big goals, and then when I accomplish them, it's almost hard to enjoy the moment because I remember sometimes we'll be driving back and I'll be in the car and I'll just be silent and I'll just be staring. And she's like, "What are you thinking about? Like, you excited? Like, we did it?" And I was like, "Yeah. So look, next month I was thinking we need a, you know." And it's
Yeah,
like,
you
hold
just
up,
keep
pump the
going.
brake. You just worked 3 months and accomplished this big deal. The night is through. The night is over. Like it was great. Like a lot of people showed up, whatever, right? And it's just like, man, enjoy the moment. So if anybody's watching this, definitely enjoy the moment. I did see a few questions roll by.
Yeah,
Tyler
I can give
Thompson.
you one. Right.
We got one right now.
Well, that's the one I was just going to tell you because he wanted to
Okay.
know for the 3 of you, since all 3 of you have recovered from different addictions. He wanted to know when you first were in the recovery phase, did you have a problem with your temper? Because he said he did.
Well, a problem with a temper. Well, I could speaking for myself. I've always had a bit of a temper, and alcohol and drugs would escalate it.
Enhanced it,
And
yeah.
then when you're dealing with people telling you what to do in some forms of recovery, it's very challenging because first of all you got to accept that there's an issue, and it's humbling. You got to humble yourself and put the ego aside. So yeah, I mean, it was a learning process for me, is just to take everyone's um, pressure that was coming at me and look at it as the positive that it really was, and not the negative that I turned it into. So that's all I got.
Hey,
What you
that's
guys think?
fair. That's fair. Uh, I got anger issues. You know what I'm saying?
Really?
You know,
I had no
I'm
idea.
very I can get very angry. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm doing a lot better. I'm doing a lot better. And especially like this year, my main goal was because I had to make it a goal, right? Because here's the thing is I'm so nice to everybody. I'm not about to be mean or be angry in public when I'm trying to be this positive role model. So I get angry at home, and the only person that's around is my beautiful fiance. So it's
Mhm.
like, you know what I'm saying? Out of all people, she's the last person I'd want to be an asshole to. And so it's like, how come she gets every single anger stint that comes out the last 5 years? You know? So it's like it's something that I've always had, even as a kid growing up. Lately I've been catching myself and realizing what a lot of it is. for the last year and a half. I find myself getting angry, and a lot of times I'm more mean. I project my energy and my ugly thoughts about myself out on people. And so if I'm feeling doubtful, if I'm feeling, out of shape, if I feel like I didn't accomplish much that day, you know what I'm saying? I say all these nasty things to myself, and then I get worked up, and then I lash out. You know what I'm
Gotcha.
saying? I'm not
Yeah.
breaking stuff. I'm not throwing stuff, but it's just like it's little comments here and there, or the way I respond when someone says something to me. And when I say someone, I mean my lady. And it's like it's not fair. So yes, is it under control? It's working on it, but
Work in
anger I think
progress.
is always going to be there somewhat. But it's
Yeah.
just a matter of how I control it and what it looks like, right?
Yeah,
So
so, so Colicchie, any issues with you at all? I mean, he was asking all three of us.
I mean, if I think about like the now, so if my temper is short, or if I snap out, or if I'm irritable or whatever, I mean, for me, I'm just not centered. But even thinking about like early recovery, it was explained to me that I basically, like, I was numb for so long. So whenever I first got clean, I was in the process of thawing out. I literally was thawing out, and I was feeling all these wide range of emotions that I never felt before. And take something like irritability, like, that would be enough to just send me over the edge, and it takes time to be able to manage your emotions and to be able to really, like, handle the things that you're feeling, and not put them into action. Like nowadays, if someone cuts me off in traffic, like, I have a choice. I have a choice that I can either pull up next to them and, and give them the middle finger, or I can just instantly try to surrender to the fact and just let it go, because it's not that big of a deal. Some days I'm good at it. Some days I'm bad at it, but it really is just practice. And, but if, like, having a temper and just like constantly snapping, I would say for me, it would be something on the inside, like a dis-ease that I am feeling, to the point where it's making, exactly how Skylar said it, like, it's just to the point where, it's making me act outward.
Yeah, you know what, too? You just said something that I think, well, again, that I completely can understand is the emotions, man. Um, all of a sudden, you pretty much summed it up as far as being numb all those years, because then with the sobriety and recovery and sobriety, it was all of these emotions, good and bad, that I had to kind of learn, because before is I don't care. Well, this is a happy situation, Manny. I don't give a shit. This is a bad situation. I still, there was just nothing. And now when I would have something very positive come into my life, all of a sudden I'd be like Skylar, crying like a little baby. And I was like, what the hell? It's like, because I was starting to understand the emotions of someone, the love and the compassion. And then when someone was mad at me, instead of lashing out and being angry, I felt bad about myself that I let this person down. So it was another emotion that I'm like understanding about myself because of being sober. Or in the past, I just numb it up with drugs and alcohol, and I didn't give a shit about anybody. So yeah, you nailed it about being numb and just learning these emotions again. So I can totally relate to that, man.
It's definitely relatable. And it's crazy. I was trying not to smile when you were talking, Colicchie, because I just envision, like, it'd be so funny seeing Colicchie. Like, imagine you cut somebody off, not aware of what you're doing, and a car pulls up next to you, and it's Colicchie, and he's just, and you're like, whoa, 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 that's
The
not
guy'd
the
be
vibe,
like,
this
that's
guy.
Colicchie. He's like,
Let me get a
I
picture of this,
believe,
mister.
let me get a picture.
I believe in, and I, like I said, I normally use I, but I'll say we. Like, I believe that we are capable of doing anything, drunk or high. And I'm gonna have them days, and even if I'm reading my book and all prayed up and talk to 8 people with that phone and I'm feeling good, I'm still liable to snap. So it really is just about making consistent good decisions. Which we're going to fail, and we're going to make mistakes. We're going to fall off course. But it's really just about, just keep trying. Like, it really is practice. I have to keep trying, and the more I do it, the easier it's going to be. And then by doing that, that's where I build my integrity, and that's where I build, you know, all the good things about me is just by, you know, attempting to live, you know, a decent life.
And
Yeah,
that's the
it's
thing. You ever catch yourself about to get angry in public, and you're like, I'm about to let this dude have it. And sometimes I'll
Yeah,
catch myself and I'll look
I
around
mean,
and I'm in
I've
public.
gotten a lot better. I mean, even like with social media, I mean, take social media like 3, 4 years ago, like it'd be very hard for me to accept a bad comment or a mean comment. But just as time goes on, like I said, it's finding what is worthy of a response from me. Like once
Yeah.
again, whether it's someone cutting me off on traffic or whether it's somebody on the internet, like is it really worth the energy? Is it really worth me being, you know, out of character just because they said something or did something or whatever? There's very few things in this life worth fighting for, you know, and number one is my
And
family
I agree.
above anything. You know,
Yeah.
I'll do anything for them. But besides that, you know, like there's just, yeah, I fight for my recovery and stuff like that, but you know, there's really not much that, you know, I'm gonna snap about, I guess you could say.
yeah. With you guys, it's so funny too because here you guys, you know, you're with your music and you know, very well known and all that. And they see you and with your positive, the energy and all of these great things. And then I was just thinking what Skylar said. All of a sudden, someone just got done listening to Colicchie's music and his song, and all of a sudden, that's the guy that just cut him off. And looks over, sees Colicchie go, "Fuck you, asshole!" He's like, "Hey, wait a minute." Now, see, the cool thing with me is everyone knows that I'm the same asshole when I'm off camera that I'm on camera, so I can still be the same. But,
You know, I
that's
always try to look at it too is like I try not to tear down what I built. I always preach be
yeah,
positive.
yeah.
I always preach take the higher route. I always preach all these things. So it's like I catch myself sometimes like in public. I'm very well behaved, especially compared to what I used to be. Right, I was off the hook. I was a little heathen, right? And I have a
All
little
of us
mouth
were.
on me, and so like I'll catch stuff, and I'm just like, you know, and I'm looking around. I'm like analyzing who's in the room, and I'm like, it's still not worth it. Don't say anything because you just don't know. And plus, it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, as a positive role model in the community who does all these things, I can't be lashing out. And so sometimes, like, I really do catch myself. I am very proud of myself at handling my anger in the way I handle and maneuver through situations that would usually cause me to flip out, right? Because I'm a shit talker. You know what I'm saying? So, you
The
know, so
bottom
I was
line,
like, oh, dude.
the thing is, man, we're all human. I mean, we're human. I
Yeah.
mean, so I mean, we're everyone. I mean, you get to a point where it's like, okay, enough. And but you know, for you guys, even if someone comes at you with some bullshit comments and all this stuff, it's just like, and you do the high road, so it's like whatever. Someone's gonna still say, "Oh, just see the way he just blew me off and all that." You're never gonna make everyone happy. There's
Yeah.
always gonna be haters, but you know, all in all, though, I mean,
It
it's all
gets rough
good.
out there, guys. Stay safe, hold your tongue, take the high route. Check it out. So we got Liam Eddy. I hope I pronounced that right. I don't think. Okay. I know these people, Mr. and Mrs. Jackson, right there. Okay, I see him on the comment to the left. Although I don't think that's them. I'm just identifying them in the photo. They said, "Do you guys have any advice for promoting your first project that you guys wish someone would have told you guys?" Do you have any advice for somebody, Colicchie?
I mean, above all, I would just say consistency. I mean, people ask me that all the time. Like, I don't know. I made music for 10 years before I had any type of audience. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I really just did it, like I said, because of everything I said in the beginning. But I purely enjoyed and still enjoy making music. And
Yes.
I just released song after song, album after album. And I mean, I didn't really ever have any guidance or anything like that. So I'm really not the first person or the best person to ask. But if you were to ask me today, like I said, just consistently post as many reels as you can on every single platform, and be respectful to your fans that reach out to you, and just try to build bonds and build relationships and network. I mean, there's so much, and there's so much that goes along with it, and so much work. But I mean, that's personally what I would do.
You know what? With
Absolutely.
your guys, and you know, you're talking about so many people And especially now, since music and mayhem's come into play, myself and Skylar doing the things that we're doing now, I'll have a lot of people ask me questions about Skylar and different artists that we have on, because we'll always hear how you guys have been such a huge influence on all these people's lives. Are there artists, are there people that you guys kind of look up to that maybe start, spark, poke that fire to get you? Is there someone that maybe inspired
Yes.
you?
Yeah. One person that inspires me, I have a few different inspirations. Eminem will always be an inspiration to me. I think he is hands down the best. I know there's people close to him, right? But I feel like he's an inspiration to me because anytime I listen to mine, I try to think, is this somewhat on Eminem's level? And that's kind of how I gauge my music, like lyric abilities, my songwriting abilities. Because if I don't even if it ain't close or anything like that, like I'm scrapping the whole song. You know what I'm saying? Or restarting, starting from again, or fixing something. Lyrics has always been huge to me. For like personal goals and like the niche I'm in, Colicchie's inspires me. Just the way he's able to connect with people, the way people get excited about him in recovery. I think it's a really cool thing, but I think that's definitely a newer inspiration in the last few years because I had to be at a mature level where that's where I wanted to do was get back in the community, so
Okay.
Colicchie's an inspiration for that. Woe's an inspiration to me, my buddy King Handsome, right?
Oh yeah.
See, they always say build your circle with people that are better than you, right? You don't want to build it with people that are below you because you have nowhere to grow. You want to be the dumbest person in the room. You want to be the least successful person in the room. You definitely want to, right? Because you want friends that can inspire you. And so that's the same thing with like King Handsome. This man, I'm like, what'd you do today? He's like, knocked out 4 or 5 songs. I'm like, sick. I've spent the last 6 hours on the same verse and it's trash. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? I'll send him a song and I'll go lay on the couch or sit on the couch 20, 30 minutes later. He's like, check your email. And I'm checking it and he has all the stems back to me, everything, recorded the whole verse. And I'm like, how do you do this? And it actually sounds good, right? Because like, I am like struggle to get talent out. I struggle to craft my masterpiece and come up with a verse where I'm like, that's mine. You know what I'm saying? So I have a few different inspirations. So like the niche that I'm in, where I want to go, Colicchie is an inspiration when it comes to like top tier songwriting. Eminem is when it comes to like work ethic. It would be my buddy King Handsome. So those are my inspirations in the music world. Definitely.
All right, man. What about Colicchie? You got anyone that kind of inspires you or gives you that little extra push that you think of?
I mean, so like nowadays, man, I mean,
I know it's such
I'm
a
older, so like I still listen to a lot of the music that I did 20 years ago. Um, but like, so like I was introduced to rap from, mid 90s New York rappers. And
okay.
didn't matter. I mean, you could pick any one of them. And what inspired me was the feeling that I got when I listened to artists. And
Yes.
and that is really what lit my candle to want to do like what I'm doing today. Over the years though, it's been so many different people.
Yeah.
And I'd say like the most recent, and when I say recent, I mean like in the last like 5-7 years, like definitely like NF. You know what I mean? And I can't even say that like it's just like these certain artists, man. I can get inspiration from even just a single verse or a single song of somebody
Yes.
that I've never heard
Yes.
before. You know what I mean? I have no idea who this person is, but I just heard this verse, and for some reason, it compelled me to write these 2 bars. And from these
Yeah.
2 bars, I'm now formulating a whole song. And it's experience, and and even everything that I say this all the time because it's so true, but like, man, I'm so grateful for everything that I went through in addiction, because I believe that like if I never struggled with addiction and alcoholism, that I never would have started music. And I
Yeah.
really wanted, that was one of the things that forced me, to do this, was all the pain and the agony and the anguish that I went through in my life. That is the main reason that I started writing music. So I feel
Yes.
like if I never traveled down that road or that avenue, that I wouldn't have did. I never would have started rapping. Ever.
You know,
I,
it's so crazy too. It's like you just nailed it. A lot of these things are so relatable. Because I said this to someone one time about addiction in our circle, and I'm like, man, it's almost like I gotta, give addiction credit. I can't remember my exact words. It was
gotta
like,
give addiction
what do
credit.
you mean? I go, hey, man, as evil and dark and terrible of the things that we did, the things that we said, the areas and the depths that we sunk to, if it wasn't for that, us three would not be sitting here right now. Me and Skyler would not have a show. You guys, who
It's
knows what avenue we'd be going down.
I'm so glad for addiction, bro. Like seriously, like
It
it has
humbles
like
you.
I have to give it credit because like what would I be rapping about? I am not a tough guy. You know what I'm saying? Like
Lamborghinis.
so I've been in plenty of fights and I can hold my own, but I'm not a tough guy. And I never like gangs. I never like, you know what I'm saying? So like if drugs were never involved, I would just be rapping about fake shit if I was gonna be rapping. And that's not it's very corny, right? And so,
Yeah.
it's like I have to give addiction its credit because it made me the person I am. Like I talk with my mom and she always like apologize and sorry you went through this, like, should have done better. Like, like you and Andrew, my brother Andrew, right? When it went through addiction, you wouldn't have been living all this. And I always have to constantly remind her, like, Mom, addiction made me the man I am today. Do you know me going through my addiction in the path that I've taken? I have been able to save other people's lives. And so I tell my dad that all the time. I'm like, I know it's uncomfortable to hear me rapping about this type of stuff in my life, but it is what I went through. And on top of that, because of our music, somebody's getting their son back, somebody's getting their dad back, all these type of different things. And it's like I am able to walk through the fire and show others that they can make it through the fire as well. So I love the fact that I wouldn't change one day in my life. My day
Yeah.
is what made my days have made me who I am today. I believe I am a man of great integrity. I am a man with great morals, who's able to handle responsibilities. It's gave me real life experience that you take addiction out the picture. I would probably be some fake little wankster, little rapper rapping about, you know what I'm saying? Because I love hip hop. You know what I'm saying? So I would it just would have been corny. I'm so glad. Like, you know what I'm saying? I got a story. I actually have a reason. I have a path, right? I get to help people. I get to meet so many brave, courageous people that in addiction, like I literally see thousands, tens of thousands of addicts every year throughout the country that I get to speak with, that I get to hear their stories. I get to shake their hands because they are also warriors in life, right? We got one person, a comment here, Stephanie Rose. She was also a guest on My Fight Our War. But I want to read this comment out loud. She says, Colicchie, I told you a few times before that drug addiction, which is your song, kept me going on at least 8 different occasions. And there's still something I listen to very often because it reminds me of the struggles and the fact that in a day I will have 7 months clean off everything for the first time sincerely. I'll always appreciate that because it allows me to remember where I come from. Right?
Stephanie Rose.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Who's
Stephanie
going to be a
Rose.
mother
Yeah,
tomorrow?
actually, who's going to be in the delivery room tomorrow
morning.
having a baby boy named Gunner,
Yay,
Named Gunner. Yes, indeed.
which happens to be my biker name.
Hey, Gunner. But it really is cool, man. And it's a blessing. And I know I've talked about it with both you guys, but if there's any new listeners out there, man, I would have never have guessed that this is what my life would look like. Right. I got clean for music, and that's why my logo is a microphone with wings, because it really is my coming back to my revelation moment, sitting on my prison bunk, thinking about what do I want to do with life. And that was an easy answer. I want to do music for the rest of my life. It's something I've always done since 9 years old, 1999. Right. And so I think about it. I didn't get clean and sober to be in recovery. I thought recovery was corny. Definitely sure as hell wasn't going to a meeting because that was a punishment. Why would I do a punishment for free? Right. And so, and I still think I struggle with that mentally. Right. But here's the thing though, is like, being able to, I could always tell you I want to be a music rap star. I could always say that. But, it's crazy because I didn't know what the process would look like. I didn't know what the journey would be. And the fact that I get to make music and help save some lives at the same time, or meet people and inspire others to want to do good in their life, like that's got to count as success. That's got to count as we made
Without
it,
a doubt.
Colicchie. You know what I'm
But
saying? It really does. So thank you everybody for the support, the ongoing love. Thank you for believing in me when I didn't believe in myself. Thank you for giving me the inspiration to keep going. Like, thank you for allowing me to grow while you guys are patient, man. It's beautiful. I owe Addiction everything. So
well, definitely appreciate you, your music, you and Kayla, what you do, not only for yourselves as far as with your addiction recovery, but all the people that you are helping with your message, all the people that you're helping with your meet and greets, your merch. You're just talking to people, listening. Sometimes you don't have to say a word to somebody to help them.
yeah.
Sometimes you just have to listen. Just like Colicchie,
You,
man. What's
Colicchie's
that?
a star, baby. Colicchie's a star. Hey, I'll tell you what. You know what's crazy? I see a lot of people asking if we're coming back to Albany.
Mhm.
I see now you're messing me up with the Oregon. I'm messing up my own towns in my own state. Check it out. So Albany, yes, we will be back March 5th. That includes Colicchie, right? So we'll be doing a show down there. Make sure you check it out. Stay in touch for details. We're going to be having a recovery night. It's going to be awesome, so don't miss it. But the reason why I bring that up, because last time we're in Albany, so check it out. So I'm very blessed, and I don't know how to take it, because usually everywhere I go, they treat me like a star, right? And I'm having a hard time believing that, like, sometimes, or having the confidence that I'm good. Right. And then, like, you pop up somewhere and everybody treats you like a star. And it's funny
Mhm.
because when I was in Albany, I was in there and everybody was coming up to me. And what they wanted from me was to take a picture of Colicchie signing their clothes. I was like, what up? What up? They're like, hey, Skylar, can you take a picture of me? And I was like, yeah, let's go. And they're like, no, Colicchie's going to sign my shirt next. And I was like, of course. Yes, I will. Yes, I will. Hold on one second. It was cool, bro. Hey, it was badass. Like I said, I truly enjoy what you bring to the table, man. I think you're a wonderful role model. Like I said, it is the cutest shit, you and your family. Like, it
Oh man.
truly is. Like, you know what I'm saying? Seeing the kids, seeing the lady, like that's what I want. That's what I want. I'm afraid. I want kids, but I'm afraid of finances. I'm afraid of that. It's a whole nother story, right? So you are a courageous, brave soul out there taking on the task of the world, and you're doing the damn thing. So, man, like, I'm telling you right now, walk with a smile, walk with that confidence, because you are a lifesaver. You are a star. Like, I get it. The world's tough. The world's hard, right? We're always going to doubt ourselves, but don't you forget who the hell you are, bro. Seriously, like, you are people's heroes. You are people's heroes. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I know it's hard to accept that sometimes, hearing it about yourself, but it's true. It's true, man. Like I said, you inspire me, man. Like, people are like, how big you gonna take it? And I was like, well, with the recovery thing, hopefully I get as big as Colicchie. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, that's the goal. That's the goal. There is no, I don't know any higher marks, or like goals you want to reach for. Because it's like, here's the thing. Like, when it comes to, like, people with a positive message doing recovery music, like, you know what I'm saying? You're a music artist and all that. But when it comes to, like, your message, like, you know what I'm saying? There isn't really anybody higher besides, I guess, if you count Macklemore. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, it's like, there's Colicchie. So it's like, you want to meet that or go higher. So I just want to say thank you for being my bar that I'm aiming for. And I ask you, give me a run for that money, baby. Give me a run for that money.
And, with that being said, too, I know we're going to be winding this down here shortly, but I just wanted to, my personally say is thank you for coming on. I know we reached out in the past and you've been very busy. So having the chance to sit down a little bit before we went live to chit
Very
chat
nice.
with you a little bit and to get to know more Colicchie, the person, and as well as a musician, as well as a rapper. It just is basically everything and more that I know. And I know this much right now, but that much is huge compared to some other people. Your drive, your heart, and your authentic, comes from the heart, man. And I can pick up on that. I'm a pretty good judge of character, being a former Detroit cop, a club member. I mean, I can see through bullshit. And it's an honor and a privilege to have you on. And besides that, like I said, you're doing wonders for my popularity too, because my brother, Skylar Ray and Colicchie, I talk to him all the time, man. But seriously, man, but seriously, thank you so much for everything. And as I've said before, if there's anything that I can do, anything that we can do at My Fight Our War, our platform is open to you all the time.
I appreciate it. It means a lot to me. It really does.
Of course, man.
All right.
Anybody who's watching, man, just go for your dreams, go for your goals. Don't worry about what anybody else is saying. Believe in yourself. Even when you don't believe in yourself, please continue your path. I promise it is worth it. My life is everything I envisioned, man. Even if my success has plateaued at this moment, it really is the coolest thing ever. For one, I get to do the dreams that I've dreamed of since a 9-year-old boy when I first heard Slim Shady LP. And that's because that's do a music or be a music artist and make money off it, right? But on top of that, like, I'm able to give back. I'm such a giver and such a lover. My heart is full. You know what I'm saying? I have a beautiful fiance. I got me my little baby girl, 32-pound cake. You know what I'm saying? She is a slobbering beauty. She is a queen. I love her. My life is absolutely perfect, and it's crazy because it's going to get better. So with that being said, if you guys have a dream, please go after it. I urge you to. I believe in you. Absolutely.
Definitely. Well, it's definitely been my pleasure. I mean, I get the fun stuff of being able to do this every Wednesday with Skylar. But again, Colicchie, I can't thank you enough, man. It's definitely been it's been fun, and I would definitely love to chit chat with you some more sometime. Well, whenever
Absolutely.
It would be great. If you guys, before we head out, if there's anything dropping in the near future, is there anything from either one of you in the near future that we need to be looking for? Music, tour dates, anything else before we head off?
You better hit them up. Tell them about it.
There's a bunch of songs and a bunch of shows that I will post in the near future. But
Okay.
trying to be as consistent as possible and staying busy and wearing the many hats that I attempt to wear. So a lot going on, but I'm looking forward to the future.
Well, I tell you what, man, we'll definitely be keeping an eye on your page as far as upcoming events, upcoming shows, songs dropping. Because just like with Skylar,
I'm dropping Friday.
One of the perks I have about being so tight with my brother Skylar is I get firsthand music and stuff. He'll send it to me. He's like, "Hey, what do you think?" So I get to hear it before anybody. But what I'll do then is I'll drop it on my page as well and promote it there. And I'd be honored, man, to put your stuff on if you want. Once I see your stuff is out there, man, we'll share it with our crowd too to let them know. Yeah. But again, man, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. It.
All right, guys. Well, on that note, man, I guess this is it until next edition of Music and Mayhem. So
next Wednesday it is going down, Music and Mayhem. Don't forget about it. This Friday I am also dropping a brand new song. So make sure you go check it out. It is called Keep Dreaming. It is like epic on the next level. Wait till you hear the production on it. Wait till you hear the mixing. I am getting better at my craft. It's big. It's a big sound, right? So go check it out. Absolutely love you guys. Manny, thanks for having me on as always. Colicchie, thank you for dropping in. You guys are beautiful.
All right, man. You guys take care, and we'll be chatting soon. All right, man. Love you guys. And until next time, man, keep chasing your dreams. Remember, don't let anyone ever let their negative words or comments affect your day. Keep fighting the good fight. And